It's been a decision that's been going around in my mind for some months. And every time that I've got to the point of deciding, I've decided to stay. And the reason was that all of the polling and other data that I was seeing from my electorate was extremely positive and showed me certainly well in front. And so I saw no reason to go. That's changed in the last few weeks. I think that the change in the leadership of the Labour Party, while I don't think it's had a material boost for Labour per se, what it's done in Ohio is unleash the possibility of change in people's minds, and a lot of people who might have felt that they were inclined that way but couldn't see an alternative suddenly saw it as a possibility. So it just seemed to me that the tide was moving in a direction that wasn't what I'd wished, and therefore probably over the last week I came to the conclusion towards the end of the week that it was time to go. There was one poll, obviously the Television One poll, but then I was doing a lot of soundings around my electorate around that time and subsequently, and they were all giving me a similar message that people felt that no hard feelings, you've done a great job, but maybe it's time. And it just seemed to me that it was time I started listening. I'm not sure there's an exact moment, but it was probably Thursday of last week where things really firmed up for me. People like to have their choice. I think one of the problems that I had thought was there and in a hurry, but seems to have diminished a bit, was the absence of a Green candidate. I thought would have outraged a number of people who thought I'd quite like to have the choice of voting for one. And it seemed to me that the absence of a national candidate would create exactly the same problem. So well, obviously no one standing against me would have been great. It was never going to be like that, and I think that you've got to respect the public like to have their say on these things as well. I think that also we are having a bit of catch up here. Last year we were all very smug and superior about how Brexit or Trump wouldn't happen in New Zealand because our voters were far more sophisticated and mature, etc., etc., etc. I think we're getting the delayed effect of the same phenomenon, exactly the same thing that happened in France. So that whole movement creates just a new dilemma in this whole game that wasn't there last election, and probably wasn't in New Zealand even a few months ago. It's just the sense of people feeling that old boundaries have gone and they can go every which way. And if they go this way, then it doesn't really matter because if they get it wrong, they go that way. It's very difficult to provide stable politics in that environment, and to be someone who likes to stand for a consistent line when suddenly all around you was swirling like a great maelstrom. I was a 30-year-old, a very young 30-year-old when I came here, so I've had more than half my life in this place. I had no children, they're both now adult children, and I'm a grandparent. So, that's been a huge transition. The country's changed too. When I came here, the Parliament was dominated by late middle-aged men who'd fought in World War II. This was their swan song. And we've moved on from that. We're a much better and broader country than we are now. We're much more culturally diverse. We're much more, I think, internationally savvy. We're smarter in terms of a lot of the things we do. So it's been a massive period of change, probably the most profound period of change in our country's history, the last 30 years, brought on by circumstance, but brought also on by the speed of technological change. And just being part of that has been fantastic. I grew up in this place. I learned most of what I know today in this place. The contacts I've had over the years, the people I've met, the experiences I've had, I could never have imagined when I came here. And they have been phenomenal. And also working as a constituency MP, where you see so many different sides of life and people in such different and dire circumstances where your help can be of some benefit, has been a remarkable experience. It's been great to help people. It's really fantastic when you can actually say, I've got a solution to your problem. Sometimes you can't do that. But to realise just what circumstances people endure, not occasionally, but day in, day out, and how much you can have an impact on that, both positively and in some cases negatively. It's been phenomenal.